Hello. How are you, Anil?
Hi Joginder, yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm also fine. Chandrasekhar, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Joginder. How are you?
I'm also good.
Hi, Joginder.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good.
Thank you.
So, did you practice?
Yes, I've done that practice.
Good, very good. Practice is very, very important.
Yeah.
Hmm. So, let us start. Okay. Yeah.
Only three people are connected. So
Okay. So, we can wait, right?
2 minutes. Yeah, still two more people, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Let's wait for 2 minutes more. Then we will start. Okay. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, Joginder.
Okay.
Yes.
So, let us start.
Yeah, yeah.
So, because we are sending already the mail to everybody, Zoom meeting link. Okay. So, our today's topic is very, very important. Okay. Give me one moment. Okay. Just Okay. So is that my screen visible to all of you?
Yeah, Joginder. Yeah.
Okay. So today's our topic is very, very interesting and very, very important topic also. Every topic is very, very important, but today's topic is most important. So today's topic is the backbone of the IT, backbone of the IT that we are going to understand, we are going to learn today, and we are going to do the lab practical also today. So our today's concept is VNet. So VNet in a very short, and VNet is a short form of the virtual network. Virtual network. Okay. Uh, you know, in our day-to-day life, network is very, very important, right? If you're uh, if you're giving a call, if you're giving a call, if you're making a call to your friend and your relative, anybody through the mobile phone, then network must be proper, right? The network must be proper. If the network is not working properly, then from your mobile phone, then to the receiver mobile phone, the connection will not be established. And the receiver, your receiver can be your friend, your family member, your office colleague, anybody can be the receiver, right? So if the network connection will not be established in between the receiver and the caller, then you will not be able to talk with each other. You will not be able to share your views with each other, right? So network is playing a very, very important role. Network is playing a very vital role in our day-to-day's life, right? In our day-to-day's life. Even it is a even it is an IT environment or the non-IT environment. Even the uh, even the non-IT people also using the network, because day to day they are making a call, they are receiving the calls, they are talking to each other, they are sharing the ideas and the views with each other uh, through the call. They are one person is making a call, another person is receiving the call through the network, right? Through the network connection. If the network connection is not proper, then the sender call will not be received by the receiver, right? Even we are also connected with each other through the Zoom meeting link, right? And I am hosting the Zoom meeting, and you are attending the Zoom meeting, so we are communicating with each other because we are in the network. Our network is working proper, our network is working fine. If there will be no network connection in between you and me, due to some any problem or issue with the network, then we will not be able to conduct the meeting, right? So network is the backbone of our day-to-day life. So that's why this makes the VNet concept very, very important. Okay. So now uh, we we are doing this. We are studying about the Microsoft Azure. We are studying about the Microsoft Azure. Okay. So in the Azure cloud environment, if this is the virtual machine 1 and this is the virtual machine 2, virtual machines mean the servers. If this is the virtual machine 1, virtual machine 1 means VM1 in short, VM1, and this is the VM2. If this both of the VMs want to communicate with each other, then we need to define the network. So through the network, they will be able to communicate with each other, right? They will be able to communicate with each other. If there is no network connectivity, if there is no network connectivity in between both of each other, then they will not be able to communicate with each other. So they will be able to communicate with each other by using the VNet, by using the VNet. Okay, so let's understand something more about the network. So let's say this is virtual machine 1, this is virtual machine 2, this is virtual machine 3, this is virtual machine 4. These are the 4 virtual machine, right? These are the 4 virtual machines. So all these four virtual machine definitely must have the IP addresses also, right? Must have the IP addresses also. Without the IP address, the computers cannot communicate with each other. We are communicating with each other as a human being by the naming system. Everybody will have the name. My name is Yoginder, your name is Chandrasekhar, your name is Chandra, your name is Habib, your name is Anil, right? So we are communicating, we 5 people can communicate with each other by using the name to name, right? Are we communicating with each other by the mobile phone number, cell phone number, or the IP addresses? No, we are communicating with each other by using the naming system, right? We are communicating with each other by using the name system, because the reason is, the logic is there why we are communicating with the names instead of the instead of some ID, instead of some number. Why we are communicating by the name instead of any number? The reason is that the logic is that the human being can better memorize the names as compared to the numbers. This is the human psychology. This is the human nature. This is the limit. This is the human nature. We can memorize the names, but we cannot memorize the numbers more. We can memorize the names more as compared to the numbers. That's why we are calling each other, we are identifying each other, we are recognizing each other just by using the name to name, right? By using the name to name, just not with the numbers. Let's say, but this is not happen in the computer world. This is not going to happen in the IT world. Every device in the IT infrastructure environment, in the IT world, is communicating with each other, identifying to each other by using the IP addresses system. So let's say the IP address of this computer, this server virtual machine is 10.0.0.1, and the IP address of this virtual machine is 10.0.0.2, and the IP address of third computer is 10.0.0.3, and the fourth one is, one second, it's, yes, and the fourth one is 10.0.0.4. So every computer have an IP address, every virtual machine have their own IP address, right? On IP address. So in between all these IP addresses, 10.0.0.1, 10.0.0.2, 10.0.0.3, 10.0.0.4, we have we have four octets. Four octets means the four groups. So if we are type 10.0.0.0.1, in which 10 is the separate group, means the separate octet. 0 is the separate groups or octet. 0 is the separate group, third octet or the group. 1 is the fourth group or the fourth octet. So every IP address will have their own octet. So 4 octets are there, and this IP address is IP version 4. IPv4. This IP address we are calling as IP version 4. And this IP version 4 is 32-bit. That's 32 is containing the 32 bits. Right? So 4 octet is there. So in every octet, there is 8 bit. 8 bits in each octet, right? 8 bits. So 10 is written, but behind there isn't bits and bytes. Guys, what is your opinion about the bits and bytes? Hello?
So
bits is equal to 1 byte.
Yes, correct. So guys, the computer only understand the bits and bytes. The computer does not, the background machinery of the computer doesn't understand the names, doesn't understand the numbers, doesn't understand any high generation language. The computer is understanding only just the bytes, 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1, right? So if the 10 is there, the computer will not understand this 10. The 10 is converted, 10 in the background is converted in the form of the bits, right? So the first octet is also 8 bits, second octet it's also 8 bits, right? 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits. Total how many bits? 32 bits, right? So every IP address, IP version 4 address will contain 32 bits, okay? 32 bits. So now, if you will see the first octet 10, 10, 10, 10. This is common in all the 4 IP version 4 addresses. 0, 0, 0, 0. In the second octet, it's common in all the 4 computers' IP addresses. In the third octet, 0, 0, 0, 0 is common among all the 4 IP addresses. But where is the variation? The variation is on the fourth octet, which is 1, which is 2, which is 3, and which is 4. So the variation or deviation will be happen is showing here, noticed here in the fourth octet only, right? If somebody will ask you, this all the 4 computers belongs to which network? This 4 computers or the 4 virtual machines belongs to which network? You have to simply say 10 is common, right? 10, 0 is also common, 0 is also common, right? The last octet, the last one, replace the last octet with 0, you will get the network. You will get the network, okay? So all of the computers, all of the virtual machines belongs to the common network, that is 10, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, this is one fact. This is a one fact. Second fact is that the computers, whether it is a virtual computers, if it is a virtual computer, virtual machine, or if it is a physical machine, the rule is applicable in both of the scenarios. It doesn't matter the computer is a virtual, the computer is a physical computer. The rule is same. Rule is rule, right? So who is deciding the rules and regulations regarding the IP addressing system, regarding the networking? I will tell you. There is one whole soul agency with the name we are calling as INA. IANA, right? There is a whole soul agency we are calling as INA. So what the INA do? INA. INA stands for Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. INA stands for Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. So this INA agency is defining all the rules and regulations regarding the IP addressing system. Regarding the IP addressing system. IP version 4. Who created the IP version 4? Who created the IP version 4? INA created the IP version 4. Who created the IP version 6 address? INA created the IP version 6 address, right? So each and every rule regarding the IP addressing system is the creation of the INA. INA is creating first, then INA is implementing throughout the whole global world in all the countries, right? And all countries are following the IP addressing rules and regulations which INA have created, right? Like the INA is similar like an agency. It's an international agency. It's an international agency, just like WHO. WHO is working on the different field, but my concern is same. The concern is that WHO is also international agency, and WHO is working for the World Health Organization. So in every policy which is globally should be applicable. So it will be policies, instruction, anything will be released by the WHO, right? Like that ISO. So ISO is also one of the organization which is the global organization. It's an international organization. The INA is always indulge in the rules and regulation for creating the international standards, right? Like the way INA is also one of the agency which is an international agency, central agency, which is always creating the rules and regulation regarding the all IP addressing system also, right? If IP address is created, IP version 4, who created the IP version 4? INA created. Who created this rule that the IP version 4 will have the 32 bits? INA created INA decided, INA given this rule that each IP address will be 32 bits. Right? Who created something called as octet? INA given this fact that every IP address will have the 32 bits, and every IP version 4 will have the 4 octets. Okay. So this theory, this concept is given by the INA only. Okay. So now we are talking. Now let's come to the point 10.0.0.0. So all of the IP addresses, all of the computers belongs to the same network, that is 10.0.0.0. And INA given one rule that all the network devices within same network can communicate with each other, right? Can communicate with each other, can ping with each other, right? Can communicate with each other or can ping with each other. So according to this one, according to this scenario, if I will ask you, I will throw a question for you that will this computer will be able to ping with this computer? Will this computer will be able to ping with this computer? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Reason?
Reason it will be both should be. I think both will be in the same network.
Yes, both computers are in the same network. So due to this logic, they will be able to ping with each other, no problem, right? So it means to say that all of the computers, all of the virtual machine will be able to ping with each other, right or wrong?
Yes.
Yes, because all of the virtual machine are inside the same network, which is 10.0.0.0.0, right? So because of this fact. So now if I will add two other virtual machine, two more virtual machine, let's say virtual machine 5th, virtual machine 6. So these are the two virtual machine. And the 5th virtual machine IP address, if I will assign 20.0.0.1, and the 6th virtual machine IP address I will assign 20.0.0.2. These are the two more virtual machine I have created. These are the extra other virtual machine I have created. If I will ask you, these two computers, these two virtual machine belongs to which network, what will be your opinion about this? Yes.
You mean submit will be different for
Yes.
these two?
No. My question is that this virtual machine got an IP address 20.0.0.1, and this virtual machine got an IP address 20.0.0.2. So if I will ask you, if somebody will ask you what these two virtual machine belongs to what network, what you will say?
20.0.0.0.
Correct. So this will be the network of these two virtual machines. Now the next question. Okay, next thing I will tell you. Okay, the devices within a different network, by default they will not be communicate with each other, right? If you'll say this computer will be able to ping with each other by default, no, they will not be communicate with each other. If this computer will be able to ping with the other four virtual machine, no, they will not be able to ping with each other. The devices in different network cannot communicate with each other by default. network does not ping with each other. Ping with other. This is a fact. Devices in different network doesn't ping with each other. This is a second fact, right? So these two computers, virtual machine 20001, 20002. So these virtual machine doesn't communicate with will not communicate with the other 4 virtual machine, because the 4 virtual machine does not belongs to the network, same network in which the 200 means machine number 4 and the machine number 6. Machine number 5 and the machine number 6, they are in the 20 network, which is a complete different network, and the virtual machine virtual machine 1 to 4, they are inside the different network, which is a 10 network. So 10 is a different network, 20 is a different network. So that's why 10.00 virtual machine and the 20.000 virtual machines, they will not be able to ping with each other. There are other methods are routers, right? You heard about the router, you have seen the router, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here the router works. Cisco router, Juniper router. Here the routers play an important role. So router, with the help of the router, the 20 network computers will be able to ping with the 10 network computers also. So router will play a vital role here, important role here. All the computers belongs to the 20 network. 20 is a different network. Through the router, they will be able to ping with the 10 network computers also. Okay. So let's move on further. Clear, guys? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So in the Microsoft Azure, the network we are calling as VNet. Network we are calling as VNet. So let's say the network is 10.0.0.0 and /16. So guys, you know about the network classes. There's something called as network classes. Hello?
Yeah, we know that. I know a little bit about class A, class B, class C. But now I think I forgot all the concepts.
No problem. But idea you have, right? Everybody have an idea. Okay. So Chandra, you are saying you have an idea. Habib, do you have an idea about the network classes?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Anil, you also have.
Yeah,
Chandrasekhar,
like we
MR,
have
you
a
also have.
like ABC, like range
A,
from
B,
1.0
yes.
to 126 up
Correct.
to 255. So
Correct.
E is 128, it starts from ends with 255. C is 192.
Correct. So I am asking everybody that if you have an idea of the network classes, then further steps will be very easy to understand to all of you if you know the network classes. So we have A class, B class, C class, D class, E class. Right? We have 5 classes. We have class A, we have class B, we have class C, we have class D, and we have final class E. We have 5 classes. So in the A class, there are the subnet mask will be 255.0.0.0, right? In the B class, the subnet mask, whatever the IP addresses will be in the B class, the subnet mask will be 255.255.0.0. In the C class, whatever the number of IP addresses in the C class, will get the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. 255.255.0.0.0, 255.255.0.0, 255.255.255.0, right? If you look at the classes here, right? If you'll see the classes A, class B, class C. So in the industry, we are using only the 3 classes, class A, class B, class C. So for assigning the IP addresses, there are 3 classes are using. D class is using for the multicasting. E class is using for the scientific research and development. Scientific research and development. right? D class doesn't have any subnet mask. E class doesn't have any subnet mask. There is no subnet mask for the D and E class. And if even we cannot use the D class and E class, right? Because they are the reserved classes. D class is totally reserved for the multicasting purpose, and the E class is totally completely reserved for the scientific research and development. Only for the testing purpose the government is using only, right? A class, A class, you can see the range is starting from the 00000, and the highest it will goes to the 127, 255, 255, 255, right? But 125, any IP address starting with the 127 we don't use, because the 127 is also reserved for the self-testing purpose, means self-testing purpose. Okay. So 120, if any IP address starting with the 127 we don't use. Any IP address starting with the 000 we can't use. It's a network, right? Okay. So let's see where we can find the correct picture. We can find the correct picture here. Right. So you can see here. These classes, class A, class B, class C, class D, class E. Okay. And the class A range of the IP address is starting with the 1 to 126, right? 1 to 126. So how many number of IP addresses we are getting? We are getting the 16M. Okay, means we are getting the more IP addresses in the A class. B class we are getting the 128. Range is starting from the 128 to 191, right? And C class range is starting with the 128, 192 to 223. D class is this one, E class is this one. These are the different slabs or the range of the IP addresses according to the appropriate classes, right? If anybody will ask that if this is an IP address, this is an IP address 192.0.0.1, then what will you see? How you will recognize this IP address belongs to which class? You will recognize on the basis of the first octet, 192. If the 192 is on the 192, where you can see 192 falls under the slab of C class. So you can find it is a C class IP address, right? It's a C class IP address. And definitely the C class having the subnet mask 255.0.0, 255.255.255.0. This one will be the C class IP address, right? If somebody will ask you, right, if somebody will ask you that the IP address is this one, 170 10.0.0, 10.0.0.1, then how you will decide that this IP address belongs to which class? You will decide on the basis of this first octet. So you can see here 10. 10 falls in which class slab? Yes, guys, what will your suggestion? 10001 falls in which class range?
Class A.
Class A, right? Because 1 to 126 is the slab, is the range of the IP addresses which falls in the class A. So 10001, an IP address belongs to class A IP address, right? Okay. So now let's see. Okay. So if I will ask, the /16 is there. /16 means what? /16 means number of network bits. Number of network bits. Network bits. So /16 means this one, class B. Okay. 255, 255 means 255, 255, 00. Total how many bits are there? Guys?
16.
So we can say this is the network portion.
Yeah.
And this is the network portion. This is the host portion. And this is also the host portion. Right. So 16 means 16. I am telling you the network bits. So how many network bits in the here? So network 8 plus 8, 16. Total 16 bits are there. So this is a class B IP address. And the class B, in the class B, you're getting the means 2 octets for the host. Means you, as compared to the C class, you're getting the more IP address inside the B class, right? If I will say 192 dot, okay, if I will say 10.0.0.1/24, I'm talking about this is a class less, okay. So what you will say, /24. So how many bits towards the network?
Okay, it's 24 bits.
24
So,
number of bits, right? 24 number of bits, like means this one, class C, 24 number of bits, right? And only the 8 bits will be remaining in the class C, right? Only the 8 bits will be remaining in the class C. So 16 means we are getting the, if I'm using the slash value 16, we are getting the huge range of the IP addresses. If I'm using the /24, then we are getting the less IP addresses. We are getting only the just the 254 IP addresses. 254 IP addresses. Any okay, 254 valid IP addresses, right? So guys, any opinion from this, that why the 24 is there?
because
Hello.
majority it go for network bit, right? Hosting it will be a very less. That's why.
Yes, correct. So total, how many addresses are there in the in the class? Yes, 256 addresses in the class C, right? 256 addresses. 256 addresses. So out of the 256 addresses, two addresses, one address will be the network. That is, one address will goes to the network ID, and second address will goes to the broadcast ID. So out of the 256, we can minus the 2. So you will get the total number of valid IP addresses, 254.
Joginder, I have one thing to discuss
Yes,
because
yes.
many of us we use as a loop back address, right? Because we don't
Loop back
have,
address.
yeah, that is what. So what is it called? It is a network ID or it's a broadcast ID?
Loopback address. It is just
Yeah.
a loopback address. It is used for the self-testing purpose. It is not a network ID. It is not a broadcast ID. It's just a loopback address. If you want to test whether your network adapter card is working fine or not, right, you can use the loopback adapter address testing, right? Suppose this is my computer, right? Suppose I am working in a company and this computer belongs to the company, okay? And this is not my laptop. This is just a physical computer. This is the desktop computer the company have given to me, and there is a separate CPU box cabinet is there, right? So I am facing a problem. I'm assuming this case, right? If I am facing a problem in my company, that I am not able to communicate with the other computers. So what to do? Where I can check? I can check the first thing, whether my computer have an IP address or not. This is the first thing, right? Might be the problem. My computer doesn't have an IP address, appropriate IP address, right? Okay. Now I'm using, second thing I will check whether the cable, whether the network cable, LAN cable is properly connected with the, within the connected there or not. Maybe there is a loose connection and the cable is not properly connected. So that's why my computer is isolated and it is not getting pinged with the other computers in my company. The third problem can be possible, maybe the firewall, maybe the firewall issue, maybe maybe the some firewall is affecting my communication. So that's why my computer is isolated to the other computers and not able to ping with the other computers. Okay. The fourth problem can be possible that my computer's physical network adapter card is not working. It is malfunctioning. It is problematic. How do I know? How do I know that my network adapter card is problematic? It is not working properly. It is a hardware network adapter hardware related problem. How do I know? I can test it by myself, because I will not wait till the chance, till that time the hardware engineer will come. He will, through the screwdriver, he will open the full cabinet, and he will open the he will on the motherboard, he will check physically the network adapter card. So before that, before calling him, I can do my testing myself by using the loopback adapter address, right? So if I want to test whether my computer's computer's network adapter card is working fine or not, so I can check by using the loopback adapter address 127. So I will type ping, I will type 127.0.0.1, right? So 127 is not an IP address of anything. It is just a loopback adapter address. If I am getting the reply, it means my network adapter card is working properly fine, and there is no any problem. There is not at all any problem with my network adapter card. This is the benefit of the loopback adapter address. So this 127 we cannot use for assigning the IP address. Let's try to assign, right? I will show you also. Uh, if you'll go to the run, there's an option called, there's a shortcut command ncpa.cpl, right? This is a shortcut command. If you directly go inside the network adapter setting, ncpa.cpl, you can note down if you don't know. So click on OK, and it will directly open the network connections, right? So let's say my Ethernet, this is my local adapter. If I'll right click over here, if I'll go to the properties, if I'll go to TCP IP version 4, if I'll go to the properties again, so the first option it is showing obtain an IP address automatically. So obtain an IP address automatically, this option we will choose in that circumstances if my computer is getting the IP address from the one of the DHCP server. If there is some DHCP server already configured in my network infrastructure of environment of the company, so I will select this option. So DHCP server will distribute the IP address to all the computers automatically, and my computer will also get automatically IP address from the DHCP, right? If we will choose this option, if we are assigning the IP address, static IP address manually on each and every computer, if for the testing purpose, if I will assign the IP address loopback adapter address 127, starting with the 127, what will happen? See, so it is showing immediately the message, IP addresses starting with 127 are not a valid because they are reserved for the loopback address. Please specify some other valid value between the 1 to 223. 1 to 223, because the first IP address must be at the end must be 1, and end is 223, means 223 means the class C, up to class C only. So you can see 223. See, look at the class C, 192 to 223. It is not showing 239. It is not showing 255. Up to class C is a valid IP addresses. Up to class C we can use. A we can use, B we can use, C we can use. Let's try to assign any one of the IP address starting from the D class range, 224, right? So let's try 224. See what it is saying. So 224 is not a valid entry. Please specify a value between 1 and 223. So it will not accept as an IP address from the class D, from the class E also, and not even the loopback adapter address. Things are getting clear, guys? Hello?
Yeah, Jogi.
Good. Okay, so now let's come to the point. This was very, very important to make you understand class A, class B, class C, why we are using, because the further steps will be are depending on this one, depending on the concept of this one, right? Okay. So let's say we have created a VNet, a new VNet virtual network with the name VNet A. Okay, VNet A. So in the VNet A, VNet A, we have given the address space as 10.0.0.0/16. You can think like that. VNet A, if I have created, it means it's like a big hall. It's like a big hall. Okay, it's like a big hall, common hall. So out of the inside the common hall, it's like a big hall, and 10.0.0.0/16. So big hall having the IP addresses means the network range will be 10.0.0.0/16. It's a big range because this is a class B. So out of the inside the same big hall, all of the department people are sitting, right? Accounts department people is also sitting here. Accounts department. So total number of people are 50 in the accounts department. Store department people are also sitting in a one single common hall, and the total number of people are sitting, employees are sitting 50 number of employees. HR department people are also sitting inside the one common hall, and total number of employees are sitting 50. IT department people are also sitting in the one common hall, and the total number of employees are sitting, these are also in the number 50. So in each and every department, there are the 50, 50, 50, 50 employees are sitting in a one common hall, right? So if in the accounts department, the manager, accounts manager, this is the accounts manager will shout on the junior employee because the junior employee have done some mistake in the accounts work. He has done the wrong entry in the accounts statement, something wrong happened. So accounts manager is shouting on the junior employee or the junior colleague. So how many people will be able to listen the shouted voice of the accounts manager? Guys, what's your opinion? Total number of people are 200. And this is a common hall. And there is no partition. And it is an open hall. Yes, guys. Hello.
I think all of them will be able to listen if it is a common hall.
Yes. So if the account, yes, if it is common hall and the accounts manager is shouting in the same common big hall, then total number of 199 employees will be able to listen the shouting of the accounts manager, right? So there is no privacy, there is no secrecy, there is no confidentiality of the work according to the department wise, right? There is no confidentiality of the work, there is no privacy, there is no secrecy of the work. If anything will happen, it will be uh, openly disclosed to everybody, all the department people. This is not good, right? So so if the accounts person will shout, if the accounts manager will shout in the one big common hall, then we are calling as one broadcast domain is there. It's broadcast. We are calling as broadcast domain. So how many broadcast domain? One broadcast domain. Means one person, the shouting of the one accounts manager will be listened by everybody. So the shouting will be broadcasted to everybody. Everybody will be able to listen. So in case, so it is not a good idea. So let's modify this idea. Let's make 4 cabins. Let's make 4 cabins in between in between all the departments. So within one common hall, right? 4 cabins. So in this scenario, if the accounts manager now he will shout, how many people will be able to listen the shouting of the accounts manager, guys?
It's 50 now.
Right. 49 people will be able to listen, right? But because the total number of 50 people are there, which are working in the accounts department. If the accounts manager is shouting, the number of people who will listen the shouting of the accounts manager which will be 49. So one broadcast domain, technical word I'm using, broadcast domain. One broadcast domain will be divided into the 4 broadcast domains. Right? So one broadcast domain will be divided into the total number of 4 broadcast domain, right? So whatever the discussion will be happen in the accounts department, it will be limited within the accounts department only. It will be available for the accounts employees only. Whatever the discussion, whatever any secret meeting will be happen, only the HR department people will be able to listen that meeting. It will not the meeting information, HR meeting information will not get disclosed to the accounts department, store department, or the IT department because of the cabin. Because one broadcast domain is completely divided into the 4 broadcast domain, right? So these four partitions we are calling as subnets. We are calling as subnets. Subnet 1, subnet 1, subnet 2, subnet 3, subnet 4. So 4 subnet. Okay, subnet 4. So the total big range of the network, we are dividing into the small network ranges. That small network ranges, which big network we have broken. After breaking the big network, we have created the small subnets, right? Let's say
Joginder,
yes.
I have one question. This is me, Habib.
Yes,
So
Habib.
these 4 subnets can be communicated within each other since it's different
Yes.
subnets.
Yes.
Okay.
There's no let me complete. Okay. As per the network guidelines, right? As per the network guidelines, the subnets in the VLAN, there was a concept before. There was the concept of the VLAN. Have you heard about the VLAN, guys?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. I think everybody aware about the concept of the VLAN. Habib, you also?
Yes, yes.
Right. So in the different VLAN computers will not be able to communicate with each other by default, right? Let's say we have VLAN 1, VLAN 2. Suppose we have VLAN 4, VLAN 5, right? If we have 2 VLANs, right? So some of the computers belongs to VLAN 1, like 2 computers, and 2 computers belongs to VLAN 5. So these 2 computers, which are in that 4 VLANs, and other 2 computers which are in the VLAN 5, right? They by
Mm-hmm.
default, the different VLAN computers, they will not be able to communicate with each other because of the security, because of the privacy point of view. This is the concept of the VLAN. Virtually, it
Exactly.
is virtually it is creating the 2 different segmentation, right? So different VLANs devices will not be able to communicate with each other, but still one more concept was introduced in the networking. We are calling as inter-VLAN routing. This concept, guys, you heard about this?
No.
According to the inter-VLAN routing, we were placing one router. If some circumstances we required to communicate the one VLAN to the another VLAN, right? So there will be one router we need to place. There was the concept came in the market. That concept was calling as inter-VLAN routing. In the inter-VLAN routing concept, we were placing the Cisco router or any router. So if any traffic want to, VLAN 4 traffic, VLAN 4 computers want to communicate with the VLAN 5 computer, first the traffic will go to the router and the router will forward it to the VLAN 5 through the router. Router is a mediator, but directly they cannot communicate. Router is a mediator. If the VLAN 5 traffic want to communicate with the VLAN 4 traffic, first the traffic will goes to the router, then through the router will forward it to the 4 VLAN, right? So that was the concept of inter VLAN routing. But by default, they directly cannot communicate with each other. Router is a mediator, right? So in the Microsoft Azure, in the case of the Microsoft Azure, all the subnet virtual machine will be able to communicate with each other. We have no need to do any inter VLAN routing. It is inbuilt here. There is one router is there. It is invisible router. And this invisible router will allow the ping communication of subnet, so all the each and every subnet computers to each other. Getting my point, guys? Hello?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
Good. Okay. So VLAN subnet 1, which is created after the breaking of the big network, and I'm assuming this one 10.0.0. 10.0.0.0 slash 24, right? Means slash 24 means network portion is reduced, right? Means host portion is reduced. IP addresses are reduced slash 24. And here in the HR 10.0.1.0 slash 24. And here 10.0.2.0 slash 24. 10.0.3.0 slash 24, right? 0.0, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. See, so one big network we have divided into the 4 smaller subnets according to the department wise, right? So this is the concept of the VNet and the subnets, right? First, we will create the VNet, and we will better to take the VNet as a big network, and better to take the subnet and divide the VNet, divide the big VNet into the smaller subnet, right? Instead of the 16, we can use the 24 also, slash 24. But if you are using the slash 24, then it is already less. Then it is not a good idea if you will take the less network. Then the subnet will be very, very extremely small. But if you are using the slash 16, then it will be comfortable for the long run feature. If from the starting you are taking the big network as a big range, that's why we are choosing the 16. Clear, guys? Hello?
yes, yes.
Okay. So
Yes,
guys,
Jovina.
yes. So guys, let's take a 5 minutes break. After the 5 minutes break, we will implement this scenario on the real live environment on the Microsoft Azure portal also. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, Abhi.
Okay. So let us start. Okay. So let's go to the portal. Now we are inside the portal.azure.com. So we got successful login inside my portal. And now we have to create the VNet. So from where we can create the VNet, at the left hand side, you'll get an option called as virtual network. So click over the virtual network, and create option is there. Click on create. So subscription name is already there, MSDN platform, and maybe your subscription will be the pay as you go or the trial. So I require the resource group. So both the options are available for me. I can create the resource group before also, or if I have not yet created before the sub resource group, I can create while creating the new resource. So I can click on create new. So resource group I am creating with the name test. So the name of the VNet I will assign VNet VNet A. So this VNet I am going to create inside the my region West India. So West India, Asia Pacific. So next IP address, click on next. So here it is giving the default network range, right? So if you want to delete, you can delete from here, right? You can give your own range according to your own choice. So I'm giving here the network range 10.0.0.0/16, right? 16. So this is the address space or the network space for the big network, right? As I said, first of all we will create the VNet. So inside the VNet we have to create the subnets. So VNet range is this one 10.0.0.0/16, and VNet range must be big. Then then it will be convenient for us to divide the VNet into the smaller subnets, right? And the IP addresses to the virtual machine we don't give from the VNet. The IP addresses to the virtual machines we gives from the subnets only. Okay, so now you can see subnet, and there is no subnet present here. So if you want to create a subnet, click on add subnet, and here subnet name I will assign subnet 1, subnet 1. So the subnet range I will assign 10.0.0.0/24. You can see here as I assigned here 10.0.0.0/24. Now click on add. So subnet 1 also created. So likewise I can create the more and more subnets. So click on add subnet, and here this time I will give the name of the subnet as subnet B, and the subnet range 10.0.1.0/24/24. If I will try to assign the same subnet 0.0/24, what will happen? What it is showing? This subnet address prefix overlaps with the 10.0.0.0/24. Means it will not allow me to create the new subnet with the same network range, same subnet range, because I already use this range. So I have to give the different range. So I will give it here 10.0.1.0/24. So this is acceptable. Now click on add. So I have created the two subnets, subnet 1, subnet B. If I want to create the more subnet, so I will create the subnet 3, and network range is 10.0.3.0/24. Done. Click on. Let's create the last one, fourth subnet 4, subnet 4, and 10.0.4.0/24. So these are the four subnets I have created successfully: 10.0.0.0.24, 10.0.10, 10.0.30, 10.0.40. So four subnets I have created successfully. Okay, so this is the way. Okay, next thing is that click on review plus create. Click on create. So deployment is in progress. Done. So click on go to resource. So in the resource, right, if you'll click on the virtual networks at the left hand side again, you can see VNet A is available now, right? And VNet A is available we have created inside the resource group test, and the location is West India, subscription name is my MSDN, and this all information regarding the VNet A. If you want to find out in the VNet A how many subnets are existing, so click on the VNet A. So here there one option at the left hand side, subnets. So click over the subnets. So 4 subnets visibility, it will be shown here, right? 4 subnet. Okay. Okay. So now click on close. Now we are going to create two virtual machines, right? And these two virtual machines I will create inside the two different subnets. Okay, and we will verify whether they will be ping with each other or not. Okay.
Jagannathan, it's kind of a VPC in AWS, VNet.
VPC, yes, exactly. VNet is a kind of VPC, correct. And inside the VPC, we were creating the subnet also, right? And all the
Yeah.
subnets will be able to ping with each other by default. Got?
Yeah.
Yeah, similar like that. Guys, this is an advantage. In future, if you have a plan to understand, to learn other cloud, like AWS cloud, if you have an understanding of the Microsoft Azure, it will help you to understand easily the AWS cloud also. If maybe if you have done the AWS cloud, then it will be easy to understand the Microsoft Azure cloud also, right? Because most of the concepts are similar. So VNet A is there, okay, VNet A. So guys, I have a question to all of you people, right? So if I will click on subnet, you can see, I can see all of the subnets that I have created before, right? Can I create a subnet inside the VNet A starting with the IP address 20.0.0.0 or 30.0.0.0? Can I create, guys? If the network range is 10.0.0.0. If I want to create a new subnet, and new subnet, I want to give a network range 20 dot. Mhm. 1 second. I want to give a subnet range 20.0.0.0 slash 24. Can I give this 20.0.0.0 slash 24 inside the VNet A?
No.
No, it will not allow, right? No.
It will not allow. Yes. Because after all, subnet I am creating after the breaking of the big network. So that's why whatever the range is here, starting with the 10, the subnet range also will have to start with the 10 only, not the 20, 30 or any other number. Right. Okay, let's move on. So now let's go to the virtual machines, because we have to create the two virtual machine and we will test it. Click on create virtual machine. Okay,
Jogendra,
so
only four
hmm,
subnets can be created under /60, or how that concept?
subnets. We have created
Only
four only. We have created four. You can create 5, 6, 7, 8 as per your company requirement. You can create more also, but
up to the range of /16
up to the
limit,
range
right?
of /16, right? Same.
Okay, okay.
So click on test resource group we have selected, and the virtual machine we will give a name, test test VM1, test VM1. So region is West India. You can change the region if you want. So image is Windows Server 2012 data center, and here the size is okay. And the username I am giving here Azure, and the password I will give it here, capital PASSWORD @ 123. And I will confirm the password, capital PASSWORD @ 123. So I confirm the password, and RDP is already selected. Next, go to the management and disable the boot diagnostic. Okay, one important thing inside the network. So inside the network, you can see VNet A is it is showing. VNet A it is showing. If it could be the two VNets, VNet B is also, then it will show the VNet B also. So right now we have already created the VNet A, so VNet A is showing only. So if you click in front of the subnet, it will show you all the subnets that we have created. So uh, here you have to decide the subnet. From which subnet you want to assign the IP address to this virtual machine. So let's say I'm deciding from the 10.0.0.0, the subnet one. So I can decide from here. So now I will click on next, disable the boot diagnostic, right? Uncheck the auto shutdown, click on next, review plus create. Now click on create. So deployment is in progress. So quickly we can create the another virtual machine in the another subnet. So click on virtual machine. So here we will select here demo VM2, demo VM2. So region, okay. Resource group, I will select test demo VM2, and Windows Server 2012 is already selected, and username is Azure, password capital P A S S W O R D @123. Confirm with the same password capital P A S S W O R D @123. We confirm with the same password. Now click on next. Next, under the network, here we need to choose the change the network. So VNet A is already selected. Now this time we will choose subnet B. So this second virtual machine IP address we want to assign from the B subnet. So next, disable the boot diagnostic. Right. Uncheck the auto shutdown. Click on next. Click on next. Next. And finally, you have to click over create. So first virtual machine, hope so it's created. You can see, let's refresh it. So test VM1 is in the progress of creation. It's already running. So let's take the, okay, let's take the remote access. Okay, so here you can notice what is the private IP address of this virtual machine. You can notice here the private IP address it got from the subnet number 1, which is 10.0.0.0.4, 10.0.0.4. So this belongs to the subnet number 1. And second virtual machine, let it be create completely. portal.azure.com. So go to virtual machine. So second virtual machine is in the process of creation. So if you'll click over the virtual machine, so if you'll go scroll down little, then you can see here, it's not, yes. Now you can see here, it is showing you the private IP address from the subnet 2, 10.0.1.4. And here, what is the private IP address? 10.0.0.4. And here 1.4. Got it? So both are from the different subnet. So now let's take the remote access of the virtual machine 1. So for that purpose, click on run and type mstsc and type paste the public IP address, click on connect. Username is Azure. Password is capital P ASSWORD @123. Click on OK. We got connected. So we are getting the connection. Let's see what is the status about the virtual machine 2. So virtual machine 2 is also ready, which is with the name demo VM2. And just copy the public IP address and open the MSDSC and paste this public IP address. Click on connect. And username is Azure. And the password we will assign capital P A S S W O R D at 123. Enter. Click on yes. So we have two virtual machine. One is the virtual machine 1. Another one is the virtual machine 2. So this is the virtual machine 2. Let's see what is the private IP address of the virtual machine 2. For checking the private IP address inside the virtual machine, right? That we have checked outside of the virtual machine inside the portal. Now we can check the IP address inside the virtual machine. Inside the virtual machine. So just type CMD and type IP config. And type IP config. Let's size. Are you able to view the words inside this this prompt, CMD prompt?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We can change the font, Jivin.
Font, right?
Yeah.
So what should be the correct appropriate? Suggest something.
Actually, you can go with
16 into 12. Let's try one.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, it is something different, I think. Okay.
12 into 16 you can go.
Which one? 16,
12
12?
into 12 into 16.
12 into 16.
Last one.
Yeah, this is okay. 12 into 16. That's okay. So this is server number 2 and this is server number 1. And let's open the run CMD. And here also we will do the same thing. 12 into 16. Yes. Right. So we'll type ipconfig is the command. So by typing the ipconfig, we will be able to view what is the private IP address of the virtual machine 1 and what is the private IP address of the virtual machine 2. So the private IP address of the virtual machine 2 is 10.0.11. Sorry, not 10.0.11, 10.0.14, 10.0.14. 10.0.11, it's the default gateway, means the virtual router gateway, virtual default gateway IP address. So our concern is with this one 10.0.14 and here the IP address is 10.0.04. So let's try to ping from this side to that side, other virtual machine 10.0.1.4. Ping is proper. And let's try to ping from this side to that side, ping 10.0.0.1.4. Perfect. It's pinging from here also. So both of the virtual machines are pinging with each other. So left side virtual machine was from the belongs to the subnet number 1, and right hand side virtual machine belongs to the subnet number 2. So hence we concluded that the different subnets virtual machines will be able to communicate with each other, but both of the both of the subnets must belongs to the same VNet. But both of the subnets belongs to the same VNet. Got it? Clear? Hello?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So that's it for today. So now we have to delete the resources. You know how to delete the resources? Directly you can go to the resource group and delete the resource group. So this is a test resource group. Click over the test resource group. Click on delete resource group and mention the name of the resource group, test, and confirm, and click on delete. Now the resource group will get delete, right? So this is the way how to delete the resource group. And this is the only resource group I have to delete. Network watcher, it's okay, no problem. So, okay guys, that's it. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye, Jay.
Thank you.